Hey guys, this is Laura here at Art Zone. Hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. Today we're going to talk about clay and our star Christmas tree. Kind of far away, but you can see that there's a bunch of stars and it's turned into a Christmas tree. This one here was painted white. It has a blue star, so it's a little different. But we're going to talk about how to put those together. All that you need is your bamboo skewer and then your star cutouts that you got from us. You'll also need some water, your extra clay that was given to you. Go ahead and have your glazes by you that you're going to use, and your paintbrush. I would also recommend getting a towel. All right, but let's get started. So I like to go ahead and cut out all my stars, and then I like to put them in a line. You should have 2 of each star size. So I put them in a line so I know where to start and where I'm going to end. You start with your biggest one, and you're going to take it and you're going to scratch it up because we want to do that scratch to attach. So I've scratched the top of it. I'm going to find my next big star and I'm going to scratch the bottom of it. So the scratches act like that puzzle that's going to interlock together. And then we're going to add just a little bit of water to our scratch marks. I just stick 2 fingers in and go tap, 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 2 fingers in, tap, tap, tap. And then I'm going to connect my stars by pressing them together. And I like to cross them so that they're going different directions. All right, so then from there, we're just gonna move on until we get all the way to the top. So this is the part where you could fast forward me because it's gonna be kind of boring, but I'm gonna scratch the bottoms and tops of all these stars to get all the way to the top. Add that water, and then we're just going to rotate how they lay. So it'll go back and forth, all the way to the top. A lot of scratches. It's important that you do those scratches because if you don't do the scratches and you don't add that water, then you will see that your Christmas tree just falls apart. Once it goes to the kiln, there's nothing then holding it together, which will then, when I pick it up out of the kiln, cause it to separate into 2 pieces. Sometimes it doesn't even make it to the kiln in 1 piece. So it's really, really important that you have those scratch marks. They don't have to be pretty. They're nice and messy. I like to call them little hashtags, but they can be nice and messy. They don't have to be cute or anything like that. We're almost to the top here. Another thing that I'll tell you about is whenever you go to glaze, it is also important to really put those layers of paint on. Paint is glaze. Glaze is paint for clay. It's because there's little tiny pieces of sand in it that whenever it heats up in my kiln, it causes it to turn to glass. Because when sand gets hot, it turns to glass. We're almost to the top here. We've almost made it. If for some reason I'm going too fast for you, which I can't imagine, you can pause this video and catch up and then start me again. So back to the glaze. It's important to really add lots of glaze. You want to try and do 3 coats always whenever you're glazing. If you can see the gray clay, you don't have enough glaze on it. The more you use, the better it turns out. So if you just do 1 coat, it is going to be almost completely transparent. Transparent means that you can see right through it. So you'll see your clay body, which this gray clay will turn white in the kiln. So instead of your tree being green, it'll be more white. and it will be rough and not shiny. Then if you do just 2 coats, it will be a little bit darker, but it will be really where you can see your brush strokes. So you want to make sure that you hit that 3, 4, you're looking real good, because that's when the glaze really starts to even out and give you that full coat. It takes away those brush strokes, it darkens the color, it just looks so much better. So really try and get those 3 coats. Okay, we've made it to the top. We've got our stars all stacked. We've scratched and attached to where we've reached the top. So when we reach the top, it's time to think about putting our star up here. Now we've given you a star for the top of your tree, but we've also given you extra clay. So if you decide that maybe I'd rather make an angel instead and have that on top of my tree instead of a star, you can do all of that. Just remember that it's really important to scratch to attach it. Today we're going to do the star. It's a little bit harder to scratch to attach than what we've been doing, because we want to make our star stand up, right? This one's gotten a little bit dry waiting for me to make this video, so that's why I'm dunking it in the water, try to bring it back to life a little bit. But we're going to scratch up the top of our star in the corners where the base of my star is going to meet. And then I'm going to add little scratch marks to each point. And then I want to add that water and then put it in there. Then if you can take your bamboo stick, your skewer, and kind of help it blend these lines away, then it'll really be attached. So you're just trying to smooth your star into your tree until it's nice and attached on there. Whenever you go to glaze it, be very gentle. Don't press too hard. And again, layer, layer, layer. So we've got our star tree made. Now we get to decide if there's something else that we would like to add to it. So I couldn't find my star tree with the ornaments and stuff attached to it. So I brought in a spiral tree, which you'll learn how to make one of these in a different video. But this spiral tree, you can see, has ornaments on it. And then it also has little presents on it. I don't know if you can really see that. There you go, you can see that now. So if you guys want to do something like that for your star tree, you're more than welcome. You've been given some extra clay. The balls are simply just the clay rolled into a ball, and then they scratch to attach them wherever you want them. This one's obviously a little too big for my tree, but you can see I would just scratch to attach and put that on wherever I would like. Presents are just squares, and then they get attached to there as well. The thing is, guys, whatever you want on your tree, or whatever else you make, has to be attached to your tree somehow. So you have to scratch to attach it to get it to your tree. If you make a bunch of presents and they're off to the side, I can't guarantee that those presents are going to come back to you. So be sure that they make it where they're attached to your tree, okay? One last thing that's real important. When you flip this over, you've got your flat bottom, right? To help these star trees dry, because they're thick, we have to create a hole in the middle. Otherwise, if we don't do this, it would take a really long time before you could get your star tree back, because it would take forever for it to dry. And if we don't get it dry enough and we put it in our kiln, then it blows up. So the drying is the longest part of the whole process. And that's why we usually say 2 weeks, is because we have to wait for it to completely dry before we can put it in the kiln. The kiln only takes about 24 hours itself. So about 12 to heat up and 12 to cool back down. Okay, but so we need to do one last thing to this star tree before we go to glaze it. So we're gonna take our skewer and we're just gonna stick it in there, and we're going to try and go as high as we can. You don't have to go all the way to the top, but you just want to go pretty deep in there and then pull it back out. So now we've created a hole for air to get in to help dry the inside of it. That's our goal, is we want that air to help dry the inside of the stars. And then while we're down here on the bottom, let's go ahead and put our initials in the bottom. So that way, whenever you come back to get it, we'll know that that is yours because it will have your initials on it. Again, scratch to attach. Don't forget, scratch to attach your presents, your ornaments, anything else that you want to put on there. And then from there, you are to glazing. Use a bunch. You want to do at least 3 coats before you call it done, okay? So if you need to put a layer on there, go watch a little TV, come back, put another layer on there, go do something else, come back. You're going to have better success and you're going to be happier with your project in the end. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and I look forward to seeing your creations.